Hello, hello, this is Joe from Nerd in Korea. We are continuing our budget creatures our budget counterspells, budget creatures that have counterspells. So, creatures can have just about any other ability on them. So here are five of the most useful creatures. Creatures' abilities can be activated in different ways. Today we're going to look first at some of the ones that have either ETB, or enter the battlefield effects, or sack effects, meaning you kill the creature, you sacrifice the creature to activate the ability. So there are very good ones. Obviously you might want something where you can put it back into your hand, but called bounce it, where you cast it again, or maybe take it out of your graveyard and be able to cycle it like that. So there are definitely some good choices for that anyway. Okay, Siren Stormcaller is our number 5. Requires 1 blue and sacrifice to activate. This can counter target spell or ability that targets you or a creature you control. So if anyone tries to target you with a spell, and this guy's on the board, you can counter it. So you do have to sacrifice him, which is a pretty big downside, but the upside is that as long as he's on the battlefield, everyone's going to know, like, oh, I can't cast spells on this person, so I'm just not going to try, right? It's more about, in a multiplayer game, this is very good, because instead of casting, say, Lightning Bolt and taking 3 damage, they're just going to cast it on someone else, or someone else's creature. They just won't target you. So what this is actually doing is not really countering the spell, it's sending the spell somewhere else. Which is so much better, because the more your opponents fight each other, the more they're not fighting you, right? Alright, our number 4 now is Overcharge Amalgam. This has Flash, so again, you can use it to counter a spell when the spell is being cast. Again, Flash means you can play it anytime, not just during your main phases like creatures normally are. It also has Exploit. That means you sacrifice a creature when it comes in to get some kind of bonus. If you've got token creatures or something that you don't mind sacrificing, then this is just great, right? May counter any spell or ability, okay? Activated or triggered ability. So the flexibility this has is also very, very good, right? It's a 3/3 flyer, so that's always amazing, but yeah. Having a 3/3 flyer, and when it comes in, it's going to counter a spell. Like, that's actually pretty scary. That's like, people don't like to see that. Frilled Mystic. Alright, so this is another one that has Flash. So again, you can cast it at any time, and it counters the target spell. It also has a 4 casting cost, so it's kind of steep, but you're getting a permanent as well. So, you know, it's not that bad. And when it enters the battlefield, you may counter target spell. Again, it's only spell, so it's kind of, I think, a little bit worse than the Amalgam, but also you don't have to sacrifice anything. So in some decks, this is in Simic, meaning green-blue, so in some decks this is going to be maybe better. In most decks, I'd rather have the Overcharge Amalgam. But anyway, that is 6 cents. Number 2 is Hydroform Guardian. This is very similar to the Siren Storm Tamer. And sacrifice Hydroform Guardian for 1 blue. Counter target spell that targets 1 or more of the creatures you control. Once again, you don't put this on the battlefield. If your main goal is to counter a spell, you're going to be disappointed. You're not really trying to counter a spell when you play one of these. What you're doing is discouraging anyone from casting a spell on your creatures, right? So there are many spells that can target 1 or multiple creatures, and this can, again, it doesn't help you, So in a way, it's kind of worse than Siren Storm Tamer, but if something targets multiple creatures of yours, you can shut it down. There are a lot of spells that will target multiple creatures, so if you want your creatures to be safe, this will do it. This is quite a good one, I think. 17 cents is well worth 17 cents anyway. Number 1. Curse Catcher. Alright, so this one, I think when you first look at it, it looks not good, but it's actually quite good. Sacrifice Curse Catcher and target instant or counter target instant or sorcery spell unless its user or unless its controller pays 1. Alright, so if there's a board wipe, that is usually a sorcery, right? So you're going to be able to counter that unless they pay 1 extra. If they're tapping out, if they're using all their mana to cast it, that is not going to happen. So yeah, even making people be always like saving an extra mana can be very effective because you're forcing them not to play efficiently, right? So, but yeah, the fact that you can just sacrifice it, I think, is one of the main things. And yeah, it doesn't specify. The other ones, like the Siren Storm Tamer, specifies your target or a creature you control as a target, or your creatures are targets. Again, board wipes don't target anything, right? They just hit everything on the board. So here, its controller, unless its controller pays 1, you're going to be countering anything you want. Anything. It doesn't care what the target is, and also you can sacrifice this without spending a mana. So if this is on the board, people have got to be like pretty careful about using their board wipes and things like that. So you can protect your board a lot with this. I think it's very underrated. Any deck that can easily do some graveyard recursion, where you can get things back into the graveyard, you should have this. Because like you can just sacrifice it whenever you want, and if you can get your stuff out very easily, just do it to like make people pay more mana to do things, and then they're going to end up, you know, they're going to not be able to cast the spell they want to cast because they had to pay that 1 extra for the last spell, kind of thing. So it does work. It does pay off, I think. 35 cents, well worth the 35 cents, I think. The list. Okay, so now we're going to go over the whole list here. Alright, so we got Siren Storm Tamer at, I think I called it Siren Storm Collar before. I don't know how I got that in my head, but anyway, 17 cents. Overcharged Amalgam, 24 cents. Frail Mystic, 6 cents. It's the only one that isn't mono blue, I think. Hydroform Guardian, 17 cents. And Curse Catcher is 35 cents. Alright, so hopefully you found something that's interesting in there. Again, I think Curse Catcher, you look at it and you think, tax of 1, not great. Really, it is pretty great because, yeah, it's just like something you can set off at any time and it's going to make people overly cautious. So the effect on the meta, kind of the meta game, is a lot more than the actual effect of the card itself. And that's something I always like to see. Anyway, alright. Have a good day and take it easy. Okay, bye-bye.